Today we're going to look at a couple different kind of real-world percent problems, so things to do with tip, markup, tax, discount, commission, and more. So we're going to break down by each type. So first we're going to look at sales tax. So sales tax is an additional amount of money charged on items that people buy. So it's calculated as a percentage of the purchase price. So the total cost of an item is not just the regular price, but it's the regular price plus sales tax. And it's important to note that when you're calculating this, it is the part of the equation, not the whole. There's a couple different ways that you can solve it, and you don't necessarily have to solve it the exact same way that I do. I'm going to use a proportion because it is easy. If you use the equation, that is totally fine as well. So example 1, Drew wants to buy exercise equipment that costs $140. The sales tax is 5 75 hundredths or hundredths percent. What is the total cost of the equipment? So I'm going to set up a basic proportion. So looking for that key information here. We know that the cost is $140. The sales tax is 5.75%. And whenever I have percentages, it's always out of 100. So it's 5.75%. The cost of the equipment is $140. We are solving for the portion that's going to be the tax. And then we just cross multiply and divide. So we're doing 140 times 5.75, which gives us $8.05. So that's how much is taxed. So the total cost, we're going to add the 140 that was the original cost. So when I actually check out, I'm going to be paying $148.05. Okay, tip and gratuity, another very important thing to know because you tip on lots of things when you go out to eat or when you have some type of service. So tip is a small amount or percentage of money in return for a service. It is calculated as a percentage of the pre-tax amount. This is so important because a lot of people make mistakes on that. You do not tip on the tax, so you have to figure out based off of the original cost. So the total cost is the regular price plus tax and tip. And just like before, the tip is the part. So let's look at an example. A customer wants to tip 15% on a restaurant bill that is $35. What will the total bill be with tip? So again, identifying that key information, we're given the bill, we're given the percentage. So always going to have it be out of 100. Here's where I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. I could, just like before, figure out what the tip is, 15%, or I can look at this and say, okay, well the bill is 100%, plus I'm leaving a 15% tip, which means I'm giving a total of 115%. So let's figure out what that would be. So I'm going to put the 115%. We're trying to say what is 115% of that bill of $35. We are solving for the part here. Then I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So 35 times 115 equals equals 4,025, and then we divide by the number opposite to the variable, divide by 100, and we get about $40.25. So the only difference here is that I did it all in one step, because I could have just figured out 15% and then added it on. Instead, I did it as one step here. Let's look at markup. So a lot of questions on what markup is, but it really, if you just kind of think of the word, it kind of really makes sense. So markup is when a store sells items for more than it pays for them. They have to make money, so they're going to be purchasing it from something, but when they sell it, they're selling it for more than what they purchased it for. So the amount of increase is called the markup. The selling price is the amount the customer actually pays. So let's look at an example. A store pays $56 for a GPS navigation system. The markup is 45%. Find the selling price. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a proportion. So identifying that key information, we know what the store paid for it, we know how much they're marking it up. So I'm going to go back to that standard setup again. We know it's always out of 100%. We're talking about a markup of 45%. From that original cost of $56, we are solving for the part. So I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply and divide. So 56 times 45 equals 2,520 divided by 100 gives you $25.20. So that's not the price, that's not the selling price, that's what they are marking it up. So if it originally cost $56, we're adding the markup, which means they are going to sell it at the store for $81.20. All right, discount, markdown. So same idea, but instead of marking the price up, you are marking it down. It's the amount by which the regular price of an item is reduced. So instead of adding here, we're going to subtract. It's discounted. The sale price is the regular price minus the discount. So example 4, a DVD normally costs $22. This week it is on sale for 25% off the original price. What is the price of the DVD? So, looking for my key information here and setting up my proportion. So, I know it's always out of 100. We're talking about a 25% discount. The original cost is $22. We're trying to figure out how much it is discounted. So I can go ahead and solve that proportion. I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So 22 times 25 gives you 550. 550, yeah, ignore that. But then I'm dividing by 100, and I get 550. So that's not what I'm paying now, that is what is being reduced. So instead of adding, I have to take our original price of $22, subtract the $550, which gives us a discounted price of $16.50. And the last one, commission. This is the one people struggled with the most because they're kind of really got to be looking at the percentages here. You can't just be looking at the numerical amount when we're talking about commission. So commission is the amount of money that is paid to an employee or company as an incentive to sell more. So, for example, if you ever go to a car dealership, there's always workers that are coming up trying to sell the car because they're going to make commission on you purchasing. Or if you go to a shoe store, you often have people coming to help, or at like a Best Buy, because they make commission on if they sell something to you. So it's a percentage of the sales price. So let's look at an example and see how it actually works. So a stockbroker receives a commission of 11% for selling annuities to his clients If he sells $50,000 in annuities, how much commission will he earn? So this is a percentage of that price. Let's go ahead and set up a proportion here. So we know it's out of 100%. We are talking about an 11% commission. And the original amount that we're saying is $50,000. So how much money would that be? Let's go ahead and cross. Multiply 50,000 times 11 gives us 550,000. But then we need to divide by the number opposite the variable, divide by 100, and we get $5,500. So he made a commission of $5,500. Okay, the last thing that we are going to look at is just a combo example, so combining tax and tip. So Jennifer's bill from her dinner at Maggiano's was $95. If the sales tax is 8.75% and she left a 20% tip, how much did she end up paying? So there are two parts to this. We have a sales tax that we're talking about and a 20% tip. So the most important part is that these amounts are both factored in by the original amount. I don't add the tax and then tip that. I don't tip and then add tax on the tip. So it's all based off of this original amount. So a couple different ways that you could do it. I'm going to do it in two separate proportions and add them up together. So first over here I'm going to look at the tax. It's 8.75% out of 100 equals what amount out of $95? And then our tip is 20% out of 100 equals what amount out of 95. So they have to be based off of that original amount. So then we can solve both of these proportions. Cross multiply and divide by the number opposite the variable. Cross multiply and divide by the number opposite the variable. So for the first one, the tax, if I round it to the nearest cent, this is about $8.31. For the tip, we get a tip of $19. So our total cost is going to be $95 plus $8.31 plus $19, which gives us a total of $122.31 made.